I just wanted to share with everybody a icon here in West Michigan and tell my story and the stories of other people that loved this gas station for one reason or another. I hope you guys enjoy. A few weeks ago, I was driving by this area and I happened to look and could not believe my eyes that this gas station is closed. This gas station has been a local landmark for over at least 70 years. I told my dad that the gas station closed and he couldn't believe it either. My dad's in his 70s and this gas station has been around since he was a child, since he was a kid. And my grandparents lived right down the street from this gas station. And my grandfather would always walk up here and just chat and talk to people and stuff. Not always buying gas, but just coming up here, talking to friends, meeting up with people. This gas station was an icon in West Michigan area. My dad said he used to come up here and he would buy gas. Gas was like 25 cents a gallon when he started driving. This was one of the very first gas stations that my dad bought gas at for his first car. And so many family memories and stuff here at this gas station. It's just unbelievable that it's closed now after almost 70 years. Just thought I'd share a little bit of my family story with you guys, and I'm going to share some other stories that people have told me why they love this gas station and why they loved coming here. It's just so sad to see it in this shape that it's in right now. A few years ago, back in 2011, this gas station was actually in a movie, the movie 30 Minutes or Less. Right there is my grandfather's home, his former home, just down the street from the gas station. Dan told me I worked for them twice at several locations around town from 84 to 86, and then again in 90 and 91. Fun times, he said. My buddy Doug worked at the Chicago Drive location for several years. Missed those days. Francisca says, I remember my grandma filling up before us heading to the mall. The days when gas stations were full service and they even cleaned your windows. Dick said, I worked there in 1961. There were gas wars back then, and I recall selling gas for 17 cents a gallon. We pumped gas, cleaned windows, and checked the oil. Before the building that's there now, it was a large wooden red barn-like building. That was torn down and rebuilt not long before I worked there. When we were kids, the old guy who worked there, it was the old building, would sell us cigarettes on the sly. Great times. Dick also said that I seem to recall that there was an open oil change pit, maybe a lift next to the old wooden building, but maybe someone else might be able to confirm that, as I'm not sure. In those days, cars used a bit of oil regularly, so when we'd add a quart or two when your car was low on oil, there would always be a little bit left in the oil can, so we'd take an empty can and sit it and another empty on top of it, opening to opening. After a couple of days, you'd have a full quart of oil that drained out of this residue in the empties that would cause you to or use your car low before there were cigarette machines there. The cigs were stacked by brand in a red box on the wall that had a door on it with a lock. Dennis said, my grandparents Ray and Mary had a gas station across the street on the southwest corner back in the 50s, maybe until the early 70s. My grandma Mary was known as Blondie by a lot of the patrons. Scott said, I worked down the road and always filled up there. Then one day they were closed. Too bad, since they were always seemed to have the best price per gallon. Judy says, I remember it very well. Went to Holy Name School and it was right there, always passed on the way to my grandparents. Louis says, I don't remember when it was last open, doesn't seem to that long ago. Ashley said, passed by there to drop my daughter off at school every morning. Nicole said, I worked at 3 different locations on Godfrey, Plainfield, and this one. And these Buttline, man, I'm getting old. We used to stop, Marcia said, we used to stop there on our way to school in the early 70s to get a buck's worth back when you could get 3 gallons for $1. Charlie said, grew up in Grand Rapids from 52 to 75. Remember the 4-star gas station on 28th Street in Wyoming, a couple lights west of 131 in the 60s and 70s. Nicole said, I worked at the one on Clyde Park for 4 years and grew up down the street from that station. Great memories. Renee says, it was there in 1965. I do know that much. I grew up in that area. We got gas there. James said, I worked at both of these stations and the one on Clyde Park at the top of the hill when it was full service in the early 80s. Caleb said, I vaguely remember one on Plainfield, if I remember correctly, closed well before I was born, I think, but I remember seeing the sign. Howard said there was also one on 44th Street in Stauffer in Kentwood. The station is still open, but it's now a Marathon gas station. The only remnants of the 4-star past is now shuttered car wash next to it. Philip said, yes, I was born in 1985. We would ride our bikes to the one on Plainfield to get candy as kids and the clear Pepsi. Allison says, I recall reading somewhere about the history of Wyoming that it used to be a toll stop for those taking Chicago Drive. Cassie said, when I was little, I would see the gas station and know I was close to my grandmother's house. Andrea said, oh my God, there used to be one on Plainfield by the Lazy T Motel. Mitch said, Stocking, Northland Drive, seems like they were everywhere. Carol said, I lived on Lynch and remember this station, but remember the Crystal Flash on Granville Avenue more. We didn't generally walk to the west side of Chicago Drive. Peg says, I remember that place. Deanna says, I remember that gas station. What great memories. Ashley said, oh my God, I remember this. Such great memories. So many people have such fond memories of this gas station, not just getting gas there, but just, you know, their memories growing up, seeing the historic, iconic 4-star gas station. I have so many memories of this gas station growing up when I was a kid. You know, going to my grandparents' house and just walking up the street, talking to my grandfather, and, you know, us hanging out there, getting soda and candy, like I said. When I was doing this video, I had a few people stop and tell me what great history of this gas station that they remembered, and now it's long gone. It's gone, and it probably won't be back, which is very sad to see. I just hope that they save the sign, at least, you know, or something. I just hope the sign does not get destroyed. Somebody could save it and restore it, but I'm just glad I was able to document this before it is totally long gone. I think I stood by the sign for at least 10 minutes, just remembering being a kid and just remembering my grandfather, remembering the fun we had going up to the gas station, walking together, and just reminiscing. So this is like a piece of family to a lot of people that lived in this area or still live in this area. This is like this is their childhood memory here for a lot of us. We're gonna miss you, 4-star guests. A lot of us are gonna miss you very much.